Jeff here doing another one of these chapters on the Working with the French series. The one I want to do right now is about the concept of accountability. Um, now, the French people that are watching this, accountability is not about doing financial accounts. Okay, you need to understand this. This is really important because when I say the word accountability, they know what I'm talking about. Because usually the French think, even if I say the word, they think I'm talking about like doing Excel sheets with financial figures in them. It's not about that. It's not. Okay, accountability in the English language means, and there are a lot of accountability groups, accountability things. What is it's a kind of it's an interaction between responsibility and being responsible something, but it's not just a response of a project, it's a mentality. It's a whole mentality of thinking about what others are going to be impacted impacted by what you do and how it's going to impact them and how you are kind of your credibility on something and how you are seen. It's kind of a mixture of that. Um, and what I'll say is I'll explain it and I'll give it. Actually, it does exist in French, but only in two specific examples, which I found out after I wrote my book. Or actually, I found them as I was writing my article. So accountability, usually, when an accountability group is like you'll have like a you have some what it is you cannot some people like I'll give some examples like men's groups, accountability groups, where you might have a couple guys, you have a mentors, you have a couple guys get together once in a while or even regularly to talk about how they're doing things and how they're doing things in life, how they're doing things at work, how they're doing things with their family, and then another ones will challenge them with their perspective. And it's trying to kind of this whole iron sharpens iron thing when you're sharpening the chisel, you're sharpening the scissors or something. It's where you got other people challenging you. And this whole accountability thing kind of plays together. So what people do is they usually create these accountability groups or accountability mentors or what do you want to call these things to kind of prevent or to actually be as a preventive measure to actually have the accountability in place so you when doing this you're actually doing it rather than waiting until you lose your reputation about accountability. And so that's one thing. I've seen some examples like so that's the kind of example. That's the concept of it. It's where you're thinking about like you go off on vacation. I've seen this actually happen negatively. I have an example of a negative thing. I remember about 20 years ago, I was working in a software company in France, and one of the guys he was responsible for one piece in a process, one little piece, one specific piece, and he was responsible to deliver something. And he went off on vacation for 3 weeks, and he didn't tell anybody that he didn't finish something. And that just messed the rest of us up. Just totally messed us up because we weren't able to make up. We didn't even know that he had done something, not done something, and so we had to make up for it while he was gone. And his boss, my boss, at the end when he came back, he got raked over the coals. I was really glad to actually see a boss actually rake somebody over the coals in France about this. Just say you don't do that again because that just messed the rest of us up because you screwed us up. Accountability is not something to be responsible, or you're not accountable to your boss. Okay, you're accountable to everybody else around you at your same level, or even your under levels that are actually depending on you. Because accountability is not based on this upper hierarchy. It's again, this is a hierarchy, low hierarchy, and a low hierarchy kind of thing. And even where you're accountable to the people under you too. Because if you do something that impacts them and they can't get their job done, then you mess them up. Okay. Um, and in France, there is this general expression, and we do have the expression action in English too. In French, they say you divide to reign. Okay, you divide to reign. Now, in English, I finally learned the expression in English is divide to conquer, right? So the divide to conquer concept is that you're dividing up people so that you can actually win over things and you control it. Um, and that's pretty common in France. I'm not saying there are not exceptions. There are exceptions. There are exceptions. There are. Usually in startups you can have this, but like in larger organizations, institutions, the whole divide to conquer thing in politics and all that comes into play. But the example I gave a couple of minutes ago was about this person that was in a startup company. We're a small startup, and you can't do that in a small environment. You mess up the entire thing, and you mess up the delivery to customers. You less the and everything. So this accountability thing is a very common and very talked about and um, very marketed concept in the Anglo-Saxon kind of community and world. Accountability, you can hear it and say, I'll talk about it all the time. You're being accountable to this, and you get mentors. I've got people asking me to be their mentor, in my different industries, and it's to help keep them accountable. That's to keep them accountable. That's the thing. And I've got some people that I ask to help, and to keep me accountable. So I ask for help and stuff, things to keep me accountable too, right? But the important thing here is that I want to say that the concept of accountability in general, it's not that it doesn't exist in the French culture at all. It's that it really only exists in very limited, call them limited editions, okay, very limited contexts. And I discovered this while I was writing an article and working with the French back in 2000 and the 2003, 2004, and I actually found it by one of my colleagues who was actually one of the financial applications. Um, I was working on financial application software, and he said, I think it was Julien. I think it was Julien. I think it was Julien. Can't remember the last name right here off the top of my head because I wasn't thinking about it. But and he said that accountability actually does work in the accountability does actually work in the financial thing, because you can talk about to rendre les comptes in French, and that's to give the status on the accounts, on the financial accounts and the results. And that you're doing is you are being transparent about, and you're giving the status because you're being accountable about the accounts, the financial accounts. So that's one example where it does work or does exist. And there's an expression, but it's only used pretty much in that financial kind of fintech or financial technology or financial application stuff. And the other one is in the military field where you already contact your response, your person, and that's to actually play the whole thing of being to be you are accountable to your military officer above you. So those are two examples, but for the rest, it's kind of doesn't exist. I mean, it's something that concept is really hard to help people to understand, and a lot of people just let people down. And it's very common, talked about a lot in different cross-cultural and intercultural classes and stuff, and how to work the French, and brought up as the common thing for the French. So that's the chapter for the day.